For an update, Eddie. Thank you. Let's get to our guest for the half hour. He is Thomas Hayes, chairman at Great Hill Capital, on the line from New York. Let's talk a little bit about the market here before we get into some of the stories that involve China. This is kind of an interesting snapback that we had today. Yesterday, the market seemed to be up in arms about the spread of the Delta variant, and today we come right back. How do you make sense of the tape?
Yeah, well, Doug, it was extremely oversold yesterday. We saw some technical indicators, advanced decline volume, at levels that were lower than during the pandemic flush. There was a lot of fear in the market. The fear and greed index got into the teens, and really there was no reason, because we came into earnings season looking for $213 for 2022 earnings. We think that's going to climb to $225, $230 within the next couple of months as we continue to get strong guidance. And you've got an 85% beat rate on the bottom line, a 90% beat rate on the top line, and earnings growth that's over 70% year on year compared to 63% estimated.
So what happens next? I mean, we've all been, any of us who've been writing about, talking about, or what you do, investing in markets, know it plunges, you come up with a reason. It soars, you come up with a reason. So what's really going to drive the market now?
Yeah, so I think it's going to be earnings and guidance. You know, you've seen a lot of weakness in cyclicals under the surface for the last 3 or 4 weeks. So they were really setting up for the bounce here. Certainly small caps have gone sideways since February. And it's been a kind of, after a huge run early part of the year, the reopening and cyclical trade took a break. Tech picked up the baton in the last 4 to 8 weeks. And I think we're kind of going through this back and forth rotation over the summer, trying to find our footing. And we kind of like some of the defensive sectors we spoke the last time we were on. During this choppy period over the summer, over the last 20 years, utilities, staples, healthcare, big pharma tend to outperform. And then I think as we get closer to the year end, that reopening trade is going to come back full bore, and that's going to be accompanied by rates starting to go back up and talking about tapering once again towards the end of the year and probably starting in 2022.
So in terms of the growth rate that we may see between now and the end of the year, so Q3, Q4, I mean, how much does it moderate?
Yeah, well, there's no question. We're not going to grow at 70% year on year. The world was basically shut down. So you're going to hear a lot of a narrative about peak growth in coming weeks and coming months, which is perfectly fine. But we're going to grow above trend. The one thing to keep in mind, we're only 1 year into the new business cycle, and that's really the name of the game, is that we're just getting started. We're just coming out of this, and we've got several years ahead.
Well, at some point, the bond market might confirm your thesis. We'll have to wait and see. Tom, when we continue the conversation, let's pivot to Asia, particularly China. I'd like to get your thoughts also as it relates to U.S.-China relations. Thomas Hayes, our guest from Great Hill Capital. He is chairman there. We'll continue. This is Bloomberg.
Jody.
There's something I've always wanted to tell you, Priscilla.
Greg?
Oh, sorry.
From the moment I first saw you.
I'm just really hungry.
Some things never change, like somebody opening a bag of chips during your favorite movie, and Geico saving folks lots of money on their car insurance.
Greg, do you mind?
I've waited years to say this to you.
Greg!
Hey, honey, you want some? There's sour cream and onion.
15 minutes could save you 15% or more.
At Lowe's, we know your home is an expression of you, and we see you walking down these aisles of possibility, running your finger on that marble top Allen & Roth vanity, regularly $5.99, but now $3.49, and finding that perfect rattan pendant at an everyday low price of $99.98. In our showrooms of style, you'll find whatever you're into at a price you'll really get into. Lowe's, home to any budget, home to any possibility. Selection varies by location. While supplies last, see associate or Lowes.com for details. Valid through 8/29/21, U.S. only.
The world's financial decision makers connect on the Bloomberg terminal. The buy side and the sell side together, collaborating across markets and countries in real time, sharing ideas, negotiating trades, and forming an influential network of over 325,000 financial professionals that helps power global markets. Isn't it time you join them? Request a demo at Bloomberg.com/professional.
We used to take our freedom of movement for granted. Not anymore.
It's not just the people who work for the airlines.
And it's natural to feel grateful for the things that kept you going.
Does America have a chance to lose our advantage?
Can we get to herd immunity fast enough so that we'll be in good shape?
But really, we were just doing our jobs.
Oxford University is starting a study on patients who've recovered from COVID.
Bloomberg Radio, the Bloomberg Business app, and BloombergRadio.com. Bloomberg, the world is listening.
Schwartz, noted tax attorney, tells us why she recommends Jewish Communal Fund.
I recommend the JCF to my clients, to my colleagues, to really anyone who asks a question about charitable giving because it's convenient. It allows you the maximum tax deductions permitted by law, and it just makes your life easier, organized, and simple. Another aspect for clients and for other colleagues who don't want their identities to be known or don't want to talk about the property that they're giving away to charity, I found JCF's confidentiality, its aggregate reporting to be very attractive to people.
JCF can help you and your clients organize your charitable giving with a donor-advised fund. A fund can be established with a tax-deductible contribution of $5,000 or more. Contributions to JCF qualify for the highest tax deduction allowed by law. Visit jcfny.org or call 212-752-8277.
Why do hedge funds and other alternative managers rely on Pershing for a highly personalized experience? Mark Alderati, a managing director at BNY Mellon's Pershing and head of Prime Services, shares how we help you consider everything.
In today's ever-evolving environment, the team at Pershing's Prime Services wants to know, what are you focused on now? Are you confident in the stability of your counterparty? Do you feel they can help you grow your business? When it comes to fundraising, do you have access to the mindset of the advisor or have what you need to navigate the ODD process? Exceptional service for our clients is at the core of what we do. Our award-winning team is just one of the benefits of working with BNY Mellon. Whether it's customized financing or securities lending solutions, BNY Mellon's Pershing is a prime broker who's committed to this business and dedicated to meeting your demands, so you can focus on growing your business and producing results for your clients.
To learn more about the unique and industry-leading solutions for hedge funds and other alternative managers, visit Pershing.com. Pershing LLC, member FINRA, NYSE, SIPC.
I was in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean when it happened. There was a sudden jolt, and our submarine crashed on the seafloor. We were in total darkness.
That's Dr. Dejana Figueroa, a marine biologist and STEM teacher, talking about a deep sea dive she'll never forget.
It's funny, when I was a kid, I was afraid of the ocean, and there I was, 2 miles below the surface. But as a scientist, you prepare for that. Using our training and a little creativity, we fixed the sub and finished our experiments. The dive was just too important. Every dive gives us glimpses at things few people ever get to see. Glowing creatures, fiery undersea volcanoes. When we got back to the surface, I kissed the ground and called my mom, of course. But you know what? I wouldn't trade that dive for anything.
Dr. Figueroa uses her passion for STEM to discover new things and make the world a better place. She can STEM, so can you. Check out She Can STEM for more stories and inspiration. A message from the Ad Council.
Europe, as you know, is not one place.
Joining us now for more is our Brussels correspondent Maria Tadeo.
That's why we have journalists in so many countries.
Bloomberg's Aki Cantrell in Berlin.
Buena Conium joining us down the line from Dublin.
So that you can have news of Europe from any place.
Joining us now from Rome is Bloomberg's John Fallane.
Bloomberg Daybreak Europe, weekdays at 1 a.m. Eastern.
We've got a few stocks of interest on the move.
On Bloomberg Radio, the Bloomberg Business app, and BloombergRadio.com.
How do you describe a business advisor relationship so unique that it inspires innovation for your growth and success? You don't. You experience it. At Withum, we think client-centrically, with you as the sole focus of our attention. As a forward-thinking, technology-driven advisory tax and accounting firm, we deliver innovative solutions and deep industry expertise. Experience the Withum way. Innovative, adaptive, effective, trusted. Withum. Visit Withum.com to learn more.
This is Bloomberg Daybreak Asia. It's 1/4 the hour now. Time for a check of sport from around the world. Here's Dan Schwartzman.
Thanks, Brian. Reports in England say that contract talks have broken down between Liverpool and captain Jordan Henderson, with the 31-year-old having 2 years remaining on his current contract. Both Paris Saint-Germain and Atletico Madrid are said to be monitoring the situation closely, with an eye on making a move for the England international if the Reds make Henderson available. With the opening ceremony of the Tokyo Olympics set for this Friday, organizers have announced 71 positive COVID tests, with 31 of them being international visitors there for the ceremonies. Meanwhile, an American alternate gymnast tested positive at a pre-Olympic training camp, with the rest of the team now opting to stay in a hotel rather than at the Olympic Village. The Oakland City Council voting yes to a non-binding term sheet for a new stadium for the A's at Howard Terminal. Athletics president Dave Cavaldo says he does not believe the terms would be acceptable to the team, who are also exploring relocation options such as Las Vegas, Nashville, Montreal, as well as other cities. The A's have said they will self-finance a $1 billion, 35,000-seat stadium at Howard Terminal, as well as finding $11 billion of private investments to fund building up the surrounding areas. Cavaldo says they are still hopeful of working out a deal to keep the team in the city. The Milwaukee Bucks looking to win the franchise's first NBA championship since 1971 tonight, hosting Game 6 with a 3-2 series lead over the Phoenix Suns. I'm Dan Schwartzman. That's your Bloomberg World Sports Update.
Markets, headlines, and breaking news 24 hours a day at Bloomberg.com, the Bloomberg Business app, and at Bloomberg Quick Take. This is a Bloomberg Business Flash.
Hi, everybody. 17 minutes past the hour. We update markets every quarter hour here on Bloomberg Radio. So a bounce on Wall Street as the buyers came back in. The Dow Industrials up 1.6%. Similar gains for the NASDAQ. The S&P 500 up 1.5%. And a strong bounce in cyclicals. So industrials, materials, and financials did well. The financials in particular rallying about 2.5%. Energy up 1.3%. Currently, the WTI crude oil price is at 66.81, just slipping a little down about 0.6%. We mentioned that U.S. housing starts increased in June by more than forecast. Netflix had a forecast that was sluggish in terms of subscriber gains for the third quarter. It beat on revenue, but it missed on earnings. The shares initially fell 6% or so, but then rebounded. One of the reasons is Netflix is adding video games as a means of attracting new customers. Now, we knew that was coming, that they were going to add video, but no extra cost to subscribers. So that seems kind of interesting, and the stock is trading up about 0.7% in after hours. New signs of a cash crunch at China Evergrande Group. The shares got pummeled, down 25% in the past 2 days, and the bonds are trading down to 54 cents on the dollar. Dollar yen 109.92, yield on the 10-year Treasury 1.22%. And that is a look at markets. Ed Baxter with news in San Francisco. Ed?
I got you, Brian. NASA director says China and the U.S. are in a full-force space race. Bill Nelson says China is mining Mars, has designs on moon bases, and is building its own space station. Successful Blue Origin mission, Jeff Bezos says it reinforces his mission to build an ecosystem in space to help protect Earth. Tokyo's Olympic organizers have now reported 71 cases of COVID linked to the event. Moderna now says it will sell an additional 50 million COVID vaccines to Japan. That basically, doses I should say, that basically doubles what it is on under contract now. The UK has reported out the most new COVID-19 deaths since March 24th, over 40% increase in the past week. New India study says 2/3 of the population has COVID antibodies. It warns that leaves a large portion of its population still vulnerable. In San Francisco, I'm Ed Baxter. This is Bloomberg. Kathleen?
Ed, thank you. Let's get back to Thomas Hayes now. He's chairman at Great Hill Capital. We're looking at the markets. We were talking about U.S. stocks. He's pretty bullish on this year and next. That's always good to hear. Let's go to China now, and let's go to your very bullish call on Alibaba, because as you know, Tom, so many people, I'm wary of tech stocks. I think the Chinese economy is going to, batten down, kind of semi-crush a very important sector of their economy. Look out, stay away, and you're diving right in.
Yeah, Kathleen, this has really created an opportunity. The fears over the domestic listing, the U.S.-China relations. If you look at Alibaba, it's trading at 17.5 times next year's earnings. The average multiple it's traded at since its IPO is 28 times earnings. And there's a fear that there's going to be listing problems with the Chinese government interfering. We believe it's not in the Chinese government interest to limit access to the most robust capital markets in the world, because that will impair the big companies' ability to create jobs domestically, to spur innovation domestically if they don't have access to capital, and for the argument that institutional managers will just buy the stocks on the Hong Kong exchange. Well, we got a warning out of the administration in the last week that it may not be safe to do business in Hong Kong. So cooler heads are going to prevail. And if you look at the growth of this company, the compound annual growth rate since going public, the revenue was 41% CAGR, EBITDA 23% CAGR, but enterprise value has only grown at 13% CAGR. That's largely due to this recent pullback. That gap is going to be filled, and we think this can be a $300 stock on the ADR in the next 12 to 24 months.
So when you think China, you want to be more exposed to the consumer at this point rather than the manufacturers that export into a very robust U.S. economy?
Yeah, I think at these valuations, it's just such a steep discount. You can buy this stock, Doug, in July of 2021 for the same price as you bought it in July of 2018. The only difference is they've doubled revenues per share, they've doubled earnings per share, and they've doubled cash flow per share, so double the business for the same price. And if you look on July 8th is when Chinese stocks actually bottomed, and that was when regulators approved Tencent's deal to buy Sogu. And the message that sent to the market was that they're not going to be irrational and say no to everything like what's happened with Didi, et cetera. They're going to be open-minded and deal with things on a case-by-case basis. So while new IPOs may be a little bit tougher to get approved, the existing companies that are here, they're not going to choke off their access to capital.
So, Tom, are there any other of the big tech, powerhouses in China that you think are worth taking a look at and/or that you've actually invested in?
Well, I've had my hands full with Baba. It's become our largest position in the last 4 weeks. We've been aggressively adding between 199 and 210 to bring our basis down below 210. So we like Baba. We think it's the biggest. We think it's the best. It's a way to get broad exposure. If you look at their gross merchandise value is doubled in the last 5 years, and analysts are projecting it's going to grow double again in the next 5 years to 2.5 trillion. If you think about their billion customers, buy on average 2 times per week. This is a monster, and it's going to continue to grow, and it's just a valuation issue from geopolitical overhang in the short term.
Tom, we were talking earlier about the Biden administration indicating it's now seeing signs of relief in the global chip shortage. When you think semiconductors and then you mix that in with the China story, could that be kind of the Achilles heel?
Well, I do think you're seeing investment. Taiwan Semiconductor said as much recently that they think this is alleviating in the next couple of quarters. China has said that they want to become independent in their ability to produce chips in the next 5 years. It's going to be tough to do so without some of the advanced machinery that they need approval from Western nations. So I think there are more reasons to come together at the table than to stay apart. And I think that there are some things we want in terms of climate. They want some things in terms of technology. And, we want approval of that 737 MAX for Boeing so we can get things going with Boeing is another one of our picks. So I do think that the shortage is going to end sooner than expected. There's a tremendous amount of investment. You have Intel putting a $20 billion factory in Arizona, Taiwan Semiconductor doing a $10 billion factory. So today's shortage could become tomorrow's glut 3-4 years out.
Oh, boy. Well, that will be music to the ears of many manufacturers, including U.S. automobiles. Thanks so much. Tom Hayes, chairman at Great Hill Capital. He is very bullish on Alibaba. So we're going to look further at the markets coming right up.